You know, if you've listened to this show, there are two coaches in college football because we mostly agree on who's a really good coach. But there's two coaches in college football I have been defending for years and years and years. And you already know who they are. Jim Harbaugh and Brian Kelly. And I think they have a lot in common. They're not always likable. They've been successful at multiple stops. And they push back on the media. They're not as nice as Lincoln Riley, right? They aren't seeking agreement all the times. I like people like that. They're authentic. Rough around the edges, but authentic. Love Harbaugh and Brian Kelly. But I was thinking about this as Brian Kelly, first year at LSU, won the toughest division in college football, the SEC West. It's been the toughest division for about a decade or more. It made me think when these coaches, these high-profile coaches, leave jobs to take another job, there's two programs affected, the place he lands and the place he leaves. For years and years, I said two programs in college football I never thought would be as good as they were in the 80s and 90s. Nebraska, I'm right, and Notre Dame, I'm wrong. Notre Dame has a lot of things to overcome. It's isolated. The weather is lousy. It's tough academically. Socially, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's hard to win there. And the three previous coaches to Brian Kelly, over 13 years, won a single bowl game. They were 1-7. So if a program, and even the Oklahomas, the Alabamas, the Ohio States, the Michigans, occasionally LSUs stumble and whiff on a head coaching selection. But if you struggle with 3 straight, maybe your program's not that good. And we know there are things that are harder at Notre Dame than other schools. Isolation, bad weather, a religious umbrella, hard academically. Brian Kelly leaves Notre Dame, takes them to prominence. Within 4 games, 5 games, they're not the same team. They're 60th in the nation offensively. With all those 4- and 5-star recruits, Brian Kelly got to commit to the Fighting Irish. Sometimes we forget that people are uniquely talented, right? Brian Kelly may be one of those coaches. Yeah, he may be. That Notre Dame's hard. 3 coaches before him all struck out. Already, the handsome, young, smart Marcus Freeman after him, struggling. I'm not saying he can't turn it around, but he inherited a really good program with momentum, lots of talent, and they're not good. Really? Yeah, they beat Clemson, but they're not good. Yes, Brian Kelly is really good. Jaden Daniels, when he transferred from Arizona State to LSU, I said, watch, he'll be a pro. The pushback I got was incredible from LSU fans and Sun Devil fans. Look how good Jaden Daniels is now. Look at his completion percentage, his passer rating, his lack of interceptions. Brian Kelly has made Jaden Daniels an NFL quarterback. He was a skinny kid out in the sun. Nobody considered an NFL prospect. So as we look at LSU crush, makes me think about Notre Dame. Did Notre Dame top out with Brian Kelly? Was I right? Will they never really be the same? Go look at Washington Husky football. It's won big with 2 coaches, Don James and Chris Peterson. It's failed with about 8. It's not the program it thinks it is, despite beating Oregon this past weekend. You know, we talk about the good teams a lot in football, but I want to give fans of lousy teams some good news. So throughout the course of my adult life watching football, the NFL draft has given, college football has given the NFL about 1 franchise quarterback per year. So that's bad news considering every year about 8 teams are looking for one. But college football now, 2 reasons. College football is a lot more similar to the NFL than ever before. I mean, you go back to the 70s, 80s, early 90s, those were antiquated passing games at the college level. And secondly, there's more college coaches and college schemes in the NFL. So the pivot from college to pro is easier. So here's the good news for fans of bad franchises needing quarterbacks. It looks like, with the success of Tua and Jalen Hurts, that the 2020 NFL draft gave us four successful quarterbacks. Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Tua, Jalen Hurts. 4 in one draft. And the following year, it gave us 3 that look successful. Mac Jones has already made the playoffs. Hopefully next year they give him an offensive coordinator. Trevor Lawrence is going to make it. And Justin Fields in the last 3 weeks has turned a corner. Trey Lance, you cross your fingers and you're hopeful. But we know right now, 7 quarterbacks in the last 2 drafts will make an impact and be franchise quarterbacks at the NFL level. That is really good news for teams that are lousy and those teams we rarely talk about. College football and the NFL. Quarterback position. Skill players. Just easier now.